Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I am Professor Dr. Bilkis Suleiman. Today I have to present small talk about Bethesda thyroid category 3 or with OS-FLOS changes. This is a brief presentation of FNA thyroid cytology interpretation according to Bethesda classification system. Main points of discussion are OS-FLOS category 3 of Bethesda system. Here, this diagram illustrates thyroid gland with a palpable nodule in right lobe and in isthmus. This flowchart depicts a patient presenting to the clinician with a palpable thyroid nodule, and surgeon sends the patient for FNA cytology. After aspiration, the cytological examination reveals either a benign lesion, which is seen in 65% of cases, which can be either clinically followed up or, if required due to symptomatic disease, may have surgery. And another group which is diagnosed as cancer and straight away is subjected to surgery depending upon type of tumor. We today are mainly going to consider this indeterminate group, which has the problematic diagnosis and may need further testing and may turn out to be either malignant or benign. Bethesda classification was adopted to address terminology and other issues for thyroid FNA cytology. In October 2007, National Cancer Institute hosted a conference in Bethesda. The aim of this conference was to adopt a framework which facilitates communication between cytopathologists, endocrinologists, surgeons, radiologists, and other healthcare workers, to facilitate cytological and histological correlation for thyroid diseases, to facilitate research in epidemiology, molecular biology, and diagnosis of thyroid diseases, to allow data sharing between labs and for national and international collaborative studies. Bethesda Thyroid revisited in 2017, although the 27 and 2017 classification does not change all 6 categories which we are going to see now. But there are few changes made in risk of malignancy estimation. The 6 categories are non-diagnostic or unsatisfactory, benign group. These 2 groups usually have not much problem in diagnosis of thyroid diseases. The last 2, again, suspicious for malignancy and malignant, are basically less problematic. But the middle 2 categories, atypia of undetermined significance or follicular lesion of undetermined significance, and follicular neoplasm or suspicious for a follicular neoplasm, usually need further management. Bethesda system for thyroid cytology, the main importance of this system is to estimate the risk of malignancy. The non-diagnostic or unsatisfactory group has 1 to 4% risk of malignancy, and repeat FNA with or without ultrasound guidance is usual management. The benign group has a 0 to 3% risk of malignancy and usually ends with clinical follow-up. Atypia of undetermined significance or follicular lesion of undetermined significance has 5 to 15% risk of malignancy and requires repeat FNA with or without ultrasound guidance. Follicular neoplasm or suspicious for a follicular neoplasm has a 15 to 30% risk of malignancy, and usual management is surgical lobectomy. The fifth, suspicious for malignancy, has 60 to 75% risk of malignancy and ends up with near total thyroidectomy or surgical lobectomy, while the malignant group, depending upon type of tumor, is near total thyroidectomy and risk of malignancy is 97 to 99%. The malignancy risk with Bethesda categories has slightly changed with the entrance of a new entity, which is NIFT-P, non-invasive follicular tumor with papillary carcinoma-like nuclear features. Considering an indolent behavior of this lesion, risk of malignancy is changed because if we consider NIFT-P as malignant category, then the risk of malignancy stays as before. But if we consider NIFT-P as not carcinoma, then rate of risk of malignancy drops. As we can see in first two categories, there is no change, non-diagnostic or unsatisfactory group and in benign group, while in OSFLOS category, the risk of malignancy drops to 6 to 18% instead of 10 to 30%. While in follicular neoplasm or suspicious of follicular neoplasm, risk of malignancy drops 10 to 40% instead of 25 to 40%. And suspicious for malignancy, again, risk of malignancy drops 45 to 60% instead of 50 to 75%. And in malignant category, there is not much change, 94 to 96% instead of 97 to 99%. The management is basically very similar, but there is an entry of a new test which is called as molecular testing where available. These are expensive tests and one test may cost up to $5,000 and are not available in our country. Category 3, OSFLOS, lesions of undetermined significance, is a heterogeneous group of cases with cellular features not easily classifiable into benign, suspicious, or malignant categories. OSFLOS lesions represent about 3 to 6% of thyroid FNAs, and this category should not exceed from 7 to 10% in good hands. This terminology is used for cases where there is minor degree of atypia, primarily either cytological or architectural in nature, and it is insufficient to qualify either of the suspicious categories. Thyroid Bethesda system for reporting thyroid cytology illustrates 8 specific scenarios for OSFLOS. First one is when there are predominance of microfollicles and the aspirate is rather sparse with scanty colloid. The second one is there is predominance of Hürthle cells. Again, the aspirate is sparse and no colloid or scanty colloid. Follicular cell atypia is the third one where it is hindered by sample preparation. There is air drying artifact or there is clotting artifact. The fourth one is when there are virtually all Hürthle cells, but the clinical setting suggests that there is chronic lymphocytic thyroiditis or features of multinodular goiter. Fifth one is there are focal features of papillary carcinoma, especially focal nuclear features, but the aspirate basically is benign. And the features also suggest chronic lymphocytic thyroiditis. Sixth one is when there are cyst lining cells which may display atypia as nuclear grooves, elongated nuclei, or small intranuclear inclusions, and the background is predominantly benign aspirate. Seventh one is follicular focal cell atypia. There is atypia with nuclear enlargement, prominent nucleoli in patients with history of radioactive iodine. or there are involutionary reparative changes in a cystic lesion. And the last one is atypical lymphoid infiltrate, in which there are atypical lymphoreticular cells, and flow cytometric phenotyping could not be performed on the first FNA and may need a repeat FNA with needle wash fluid subjected for flow cytometric analysis. Features of OSFLOS: with few cells that have distinct but mild nuclear atypia, or with more extensive but very mild nuclear atypia. Most common histological diagnosis of OSFLOS nodule is nodular hyperplasia in a multinodular goiter and a follicular adenoma. But remember that many of these cases may turn out to be papillary thyroid carcinoma. OS or FLUS can be taken as one entity and should not be used separately. OS can be subdivided into either cytological atypia, OS-C, or architectural atypia, which is OS-A. The important point about this differentiation is that risk of malignancy is more in cytological atypia than in architectural atypia. Here we have some diagrams about cellular atypia, cellular cytological atypia. We can see in these cells some nuclear molding, some nuclear size variation, nuclear and cell size variation, intranuclear grooves, nucleoli, irregular membrane. This is cytological atypia, or OS-C. This again represents cytological atypia. This case had only scanty atypical groups, very few groups with these cytological features, again some nuclear cellular pleomorphism, and some cells with intranuclear grooves. This turned out to be a papillary carcinoma of thyroid. In architectural atypia, we may see microfollicles, again with hyperchromatic nuclei and some nuclear overlapping. This again has some microfollicles, cellular and nuclear variation, and some hyperchromasia. Hurthal cell atypia is another category which is included in OSFLOS. Here we see these cells with granular abundant cytoplasm, and some of these cells may show intranuclear vacuolation. Atypical lymphoreticular cells is another category in OSFLOS, monotonous population of immature lymphoid cells with hyperchromasia, immature chromatin, and irregular nuclear contours. Cyst lining cells is another group included in OSFLOS, where we can see these horrible looking cells with nuclear cellular pleomorphism, dark nuclei, and some irregular jagged borders. Here again we have overlapping nuclei, elongated cells. Reactive cell changes again can be seen in OSFLOS cases. This patient has had radioiodine with intracytoplasmic vacuolation, some elongated nuclei, again intracytoplasmic vacuolations. In discussion, OSFLOS is an interpretation of last resort and should be used judiciously. Specimen preparation artifacts may potentially raise concern about OSFLOS. OS with cytological atypia is associated with papillary thyroid carcinoma in 28 to 56% cases. Rare cells, when there are less than 20 cells with elongated, often overlapping nuclei, pale chromatin, irregular nuclear outlines, and nuclear grooves, or well-defined intranuclear pseudo-inclusions or semomatous bodies, which will be more suspicious for papillary carcinoma. In pathology report, the reporting may be in different patterns like atypia of undetermined significance with possibility of follicular neoplasm. The smears are sparsely cellular and they are comprised of follicular cells with microfollicular pattern, and the colloid is absent or scanty. A repeat FNA or molecular testing, if available, may be helpful. The second diagnostic category could be OSFLOS with possibility of papillary thyroid carcinoma when there are follicular cells with mild nuclear irregularity. Again, a note, repeat FNA or molecular testing if available and if clinically indicated. Atypia of undetermined significance with possibility of papillary thyroid carcinoma. Follicular cells predominantly benign appearing and there is only focal cytological atypia. Again, repeat FNA or molecular testing if available. Or the report may be atypia of undetermined significance with possibility of lymphoma when there are numerous relatively monomorphic immature lymphoid cells. Needle wash for flow cytometry may be helpful if clinically indicated. Seeking knowledge is an obligation upon every Muslim. Now, to end our discussion, the take-home message is that OSFLOS category 3 Bethesda thyroid should be followed as per international guidelines, whether in the form of surgery or follow-up, depending upon any of the above mentioned 8 categories of OSFLOS and the risk of malignancy associated with it. And number 2 point is risk of malignancy in OSFLOS with cytological atypia is more than with OSFLOS associated with architectural atypia. We should also remember that like all other tests, clinical judgment, radiological findings, and cytological diagnosis should all be taken together for best management of patients. Thank you very much. With this, I end up my discussion.